Network Plus versus CCNA. What actually matters for cybersecurity and which one you should pursue if you're trying to get into cybersecurity industry. Before we get into this, I'm going to be real with you, alright? This video is not about like comparing certifications like other influencers that you see on YouTube. This is going to be different, and in this video I'm not here to tell you which piece of paper you need to get in order to get more HR points, get more interview calls, things like that, because certifications are not like that anymore. They're not going to get you more interviews. The industry has changed dramatically, all right? And I'm not here to sell you a test voucher or convince you to memorize the OSI model for the 100th time. I'm not here to tell you go get Google certificate, things like that. I'm not sponsored by any of these providers here. I'm just going to give you my real world insight in the industry. I've been in the industry for more than 10 years now. I have CCNA. I've been through Network Plus content. I've been doing cybersecurity engineering for a long time here in Australia and abroad. I know what I'm talking about, and I've helped other people get into the cybersecurity industry and all that sort of stuff. Everything that I'm sharing here with you guys, it's coming from my own experience, okay? Now, like I said, I'm here to talk about the actual skills you get from CCNA versus Network Plus and whether that knowledge will actually help you get into the technical side of cybersecurity. This is the key part, guys. Technical side of cyber. Because in my opinion, I've talked to so many GRC people out there. I have friends who are doing GRC related tasks in cybersecurity. And honestly, when it comes to GRC, you don't necessarily need to know a lot about networking, just the basic stuff. Like what is networking, TCP, IP, that stuff. You don't need more than that for GRC. So I think this video is very relatable to you guys who are trying to get into the technical side of cybersecurity. Because that's the only thing that matters, all right? Getting real world skills that's actually going to help you landing a technical role in cyber. The thing is, everyone and their cousin has certifications these days. People are cheating, using exam dumps, or rushing through boot camps without understanding anything. I've seen so many people with CCNA, and when I ask them to configure a router or switches, they're just blank. They don't know how to do it. Because guess what? They just memorize some random questions on the internet. They pass the exam, but they have no real world knowledge and they cannot get the job done. And because of that, certifications have lost their value these days. They have lost their shine. But the thing is, the only thing that matters these days is real world skills. Real skills haven't lost their shine in the industry. Now, if you're serious about getting into the cybersecurity industry, especially the technical side, this video is going to break it all down for you, alright? So make sure to watch this video till the end because I have so many things that I want to share with you guys, alright? Now, my no BS approach to certification. For me personally, guys, I treat certifications like training plans, like roadmaps, not trophies. I'm not trying to impress other people on my LinkedIn social media platform. I'm trying to learn something to deliver value to the companies that I'm working for. I'm not looking at them at trophies or badge on my LinkedIn profile, like I said. I chase the content, the skills, and the transformation. Guys, this is key. You see, when you're trying to learn, let's say CCNA, before you do that, you have no knowledge around networking, right? Let's say you're in position A. You go through the content of CCNA, and as a result of that, at the end of your journey, you now know more about networking. You know how to configure routers, switches, things like that. You had that transformation, not because of the certification exam itself, because of the journey that you had to go through. The content that you have learned made you someone who knows more about networking as a result of that. So when I look at Network Plus or CCNA, I'm asking myself all this. What will I learn? Will this help me do real work in cyber? Is this content something I can apply in the real world? And here's my rule. If you're broke, you don't have money to spend on certifications, or early in your journey, I don't recommend you spending $500 on an exam. Like seriously, I didn't do that myself. Guys, you know me. I'm from Iran. When I used to live in Iran, um, we couldn't take certifications exam back then. So what I did instead, I learned the content. I didn't uh, go through the examiner things. I passed the exams eventually when I had the chance, but when I look at it right now, I think it was not worth it to pass the exam. Okay, you could get more value if you spend the same amount of money on a lab setup. You can buy a second-hand gear, build your own home lab, install Wireshark, set up PFSense, or buy a used firewalls, things like that. You can capture packets, break stuff, and fix it. When you do that, you learn more. Like seriously, guys, I'm guaranteeing you, if you do this, you learn more by memorizing content. That's where you learn. That's where you get better compared to other people. Like I said, when I was coming up, I built labs out of junk. Okay? And it worked. Worked tremendously. So, if you want my opinion, forget about the paper, build the skill set. I get it, and I get it. You're thinking to yourself, oh, if I don't have the certifications, how will I get a phone call from HR people or recruiters? Here's the move, guys. You don't have to lie. You don't have to fake certifications, but you can list the training that you're going through on your resume as something like in progress or completed training. And because that's the truth. Did you go through the full CCNA course? Did you build a lab, configure routers, captured packets in Wireshark? If yes, then you can write it on your resume. You can say Cisco CCNA training, 60 hours plus completed lab scenarios. You've done this project, all that stuff. You can do that and put it on your resume, and that will get you through ATS filter without bullshit. The goal here, guys, is to get more interviews. So when you put this stuff on your resume, you'll get more interviews. Now you have to prove to them that you're the person for the job. You have done your work. You don't talk knowledge. You've done it in your home lab. That's how you stand out, guys. That's how you bypass the cert race. I hope it's making sense, guys. If you have any questions around that, make sure to comment down below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to do that. Like my video. I don't have any sponsors. The only thing that I need from you guys is to share this video with your peers and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for that. Now, who actually needs CCNA and who doesn't? I'm going to make this super clear. Let's actually make it bigger so you guys can see my screen as well. If you want to be a SOC analyst, junior cyber analyst, or getting into the pen testing side of the cybersecurity, ethical hacking, penetration testing, you do not need to configure dynamic routing protocols like OSPF or EIGRP. You don't need to understand spanning tree protocol. You don't need to configure Ether channel or VLAN trunking on multiple switches. That's what is covered inside CCNA. You don't need that. Like, if you're trying to become a SOC analyst, seriously, you have to spend more time reading the logs, responding to alerts from different EDR platforms, things like that. You're not going to deal with OSPF protocol when you're a SOC analyst. Or even if you're an ethical hacker, yes, you can exploit OSPF vulnerabilities, weaknesses, things like that, but you don't need to configure the routing protocol from scratch. Like my mentor used to say, it's nice to know, not need to know. This is very good. I like this content. It's nice to know, not need to know. CCNA is a network engineer cert. And I took that exam and I passed it, guys, because I used to be a network engineer back then. I was a help desk technician, then I got my job as a network engineer. I'm going to share my screen right now. As you can see, this is my resume. I used to be a network engineer, then became a network security engineer, senior security engineer, all that sort of stuff. So like I said, CCNA is a network engineer cert. It's deep, practical, and hands-on, but it's very Cisco specific. It talks about Cisco products most of the time. You should consider CCNA, like I said, if you're trying to become a network security engineer eventually, long term. Or if you're trying to secure Cisco infrastructure. you want to work on core network design, segmentation, or high availability configs, configuring networking devices and all that sort of stuff. CCNA content is useful for you if you're that kind of a person. Otherwise, it's overkill in my opinion. Like I said, I've passed CCNA, I've spent years securing networks, building DMZ, firewalls, things like that, and I'm telling you right now, 80% of CCNA is irrelevant for blue team roles like SOC analyst or penetration testing roles. I'm going to highlight it here. It's irrelevant. You don't need 80% of CCNA for those kind of roles. Like I said, you don't need to configure routing protocols to identify malicious IP addresses in your SOC environment. Now, here in this section, I'm going to go deep dive on CCNA content and talk about what you'll learn and what actually applies to cyber in terms of the exam topics. So routing switching in CCNA talks about IPv4, IPv6, address planning, subnetting. Yes, this is relevant. You need to know about that if you're trying to get into the cybersecurity industry. Again, static routing, OSPF, route selection. Yes, it could be useful, especially the static routing, but OSPF, ERGRP, BGP, all that sort of stuff, not relevant for a SOC or penetration testing role. VLANs, trunk ports, inter-VLAN routing. It's good to know, but you don't need to configure them. You don't need to sit down and do that on a switch or router. Hope that makes sense. Ether channel, STP, RTP, overkill. Again, you don't need to do these kind of things for a SOC analyst role. Device and network management. Yes, SSH, Telnet, SNMP, syslog. Again, you need to know them, what these do, but you're not going to implement them on a networking devices. CDP, LLDP, port security. Again, network security concepts and networking concepts. Overkill, my opinion. Security topics, yes, that could be useful, especially for network security. You as a security analyst, SOC analyst, or penetration tester, you need to know about network security a little bit. AAA, tag hacks, radius, but on a high level stuff. You don't need to go deep down and know how to configure tag hacks. Okay? Automations and API, yes, it could be useful, but it's network related stuff. It's automation around networking concepts. In cybersecurity industry, let's say if you're a SOC analyst, guess what you're going to do? You're going to resolve tickets and incidents. Instead of learning automation about networking, you need to learn automation on the SOC stuff or penetration stuff, not networking automation. Wireless and virtualization, again, high level stuff. You don't need to configure SSID, access point, all that sort of stuff. Encryption types, you can learn the different types of encryption from Security Plus content. Controllers, cloud managed networking, again, more relevant for network engineers, not security analysts or penetration testers. So my verdict on CCNA content, roughly around 30% is directly useful for SOC or entry-level blue team roles, okay? Another 20% is useful long-term if you move toward network security like myself. So if I go back to my profile, yes, I needed CCNA. I needed to learn about CCNA because I was planning to become a network security engineer. My job was to secure network, so I had to learn about networking. I had to know about different Cisco switches, routers, firewalls, things like that. Okay, now let's get on to Network Plus breakdown. In my opinion, Network Plus is broad, not practical. I mentioned that it's practical, but it's not lab focused, but practical in a different meaning, and it's vendor neutral. I think Network Plus takes a different approach. It's broad, like I said, and not deep. It's meant to give you context, not just configuration. And that is what I like about Network Plus, guys. Because for you to become a SOC analyst or penetration tester, you don't need to go deep into the networking concepts. You just need to know on a broad level, high level. Like I said, think of it as the networking dictionary for IT and cyber professionals. And here's what Network Plus dives into. It talks about the core concepts of networking like OSI model, TCP, IP stack, critical, relevant. Again, these sections are also covered in CCNA. I'm not going to ignore that. You're going to learn about these things on CCNA as well. Here as well, like ports, protocol, services. Again, you will have to learn all of these things. Very critical. It's also covered in CCNA as well. Traffic types, it's also covered in CCNA. It's relevant. Network topologies, it's relevant. Cabling types like wireless standards, like all these kind of things, they're all useful if you're trying to get into cybersecurity industry. Now, this is where things get interesting. With CCNA, threats and vulnerabilities, in Network Plus, it's more. It covers more of security related stuff compared to CCNA. Common attacks, I don't know, guys. I forgot when I took the exam. It was a while back. I don't remember whether CCNA covered R poisoning, DNS spoofing, things like that in more detailed stuff. But I know for Network Plus, it goes into the details of these topics. Like I said, network services, it's also covered in CCNA. This one as well. Packet analysis, this is good. So with Network Plus, it goes more into the tools and troubleshooting on a ground level, high level stuff. Vendor neutral, guys. Remember, in CCNA, you won't learn about Wireshark, TCP dump, or stuff like that. Ping, trace route, NS lookup, all that sort of stuff. This is what I really like about Network Plus, is this section. This is the section I really like about Network Plus. With Network Plus, it covers SDN, virtualization, cloud models, SaaS, PaaS, all that sort of stuff, relevant for modern environments because you're going to deal with that. SASE, ZTA, zero trust, network access, all that sort of stuff. It's also covered in Network Plus. I don't think that is covered in CCNA. So CCNA is not talking about new emerging technologies in the industry. So my verdict on Network Plus content, it's highly applicable to SOC and cyber related jobs. Period. It gives you the language of networking, which is vital. You don't need to configure routers and switches for a cybersecurity role, like I said. You need to understand the language of networking, and in my opinion, Network Plus covers all of that. It doesn't go deep, but it's the right width if you're new to the industry. Now, which one should you actually study based on your goals? Honestly, it depends on your path and your current knowledge level. If you're new to networking, cybersecurity, I would recommend you start with Network Plus content. It doesn't matter whether you sit for the exam or you don't sit for the exam, it doesn't matter. Start with Network Plus content. Don't waste your time on configuring OSPF on routers or BGP configuration, control-based overlays, SD-WAN route redistribution. All these kind of things, it's more heavy on the networking side. You don't necessarily need these things for a cybersecurity role. Specifically, SOC analyst, penetration testing role, things like that. Instead, you can focus on subnetting, IP planning, NAT part, DHCP, DNS, packet analysis, wireless security, and VLAN segmentation. Understanding these topics is going to help you a lot. But then again, it doesn't matter. Even if you go through Network Plus and if you don't do the job, if you don't practically, it doesn't matter. You need to build labs. You need to do some blue team projects, penetration testing projects. You need to go through the logs, work with different SIEM platforms, deploy Suricata, triage alerts, detection rules, all that sort of stuff. These are the things that's going to make you valuable compared to the other people applying to the same role. I've seen it all the time. We have people who have all the CompTIA certifications. They're applying to roles. They're getting interviews, but they're wasting those opportunities because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to say in the interview process. So, final truth, why skills beat paper every time? It's because cybersecurity job market doesn't reward paper anymore, guys. You've seen it. People with 5 certifications, they cannot answer basic questions in interviews. HR people, they're skeptical. Hiring managers are sick and tired of teaching people from scratch. They're burnt and it's not working anymore. What gets you hired now these days? Proof you've done the work. So you need to show your lab, write blog posts, put it on GitHub, put it on your resume. Exact details what you have done in those projects on your resume. And again, I'm not against certifications, guys. I have all these certifications myself. If you have a look at my LinkedIn profile, you all have all these certifications. For me, it was not about the paper. For me, it was about the skill set. I wanted to learn. I wanted to build that hands-on skills, and I used the certifications as a roadmap for myself to learn the content. And when I learned the content, I applied it in the real world immediately. So if you want to win, don't show them your exam history, because no one cares about them anymore. Show them you can solve problems. As you can see, most of my certifications are expired now. Guess what? Nothing is happening to me. I'm still getting projects. I'm still able to deploy projects for people, implementing stuff, because for me, it's not about paper certifications. For me, it's about the skill set. The only thing that you can deliver to your customer, to your manager, to the company is your skill set. The more value you bring to the table, the more money you'll get. So, if I were starting from scratch in 2025, if I wanted to decide which one to choose between CCNA and Network Plus, I would study Network Plus content. You could use free YouTube videos, Professor Messer content. Skip the exam if you don't have the money. If you have the money, if you want to have something on your resume, that's fine, go for it. But don't spend 6 months, 8 months preparing for a Network Plus exam. I've seen it all the time. People spending a year or 2 years studying for a certification exam. That's a nightmare. Step 3, build a home lab or build cloud labs or pay for mentorship. Join programs that are focused on real world projects. Do free projects for other people around you, for your communities, Gain real world experience. You can do that by deploying pfSense firewall, Kali Linux, attacker box, like so many videos out there. If you want me to record a video and talk about how to set up your home lab video, make sure to comment down below, so that way I'll know that you're watching my video and I guess giving me motivation to do that. So if you want me to do that, make sure to leave a comment down below. And yeah, learn different techniques, do the real world stuff. Build a home lab. You can have pfSense firewall in your virtualized environment, Kali Linux attacker box, Windows, Ubuntu virtual machines. Do things, try stuff, break stuff. When you do that, you learn more. Then once you've done all those projects, you've gained hands-on experience, whether through your home lab or whether you have done some projects for your communities, or you've joined some programs out there that are helping you with real-world hands-on practical stuff. You need to document everything. You need to blog it on LinkedIn. You need to create YouTube videos like this like that. Put it on your GitHub profile. Do all of that. Document your journey and share it with everyone else. Make some noises and market yourself properly, because if you're not marketing yourself, no one is going to hear about you. You have to build your brand. Then after that, apply to jobs, get interviews, and get better, and talk about those projects that you have done in the interview process. Like I said, certifications alone, it's not going to cut it anymore. You have to gain that practical experience. Because when you get invited for the interviews, they're going to ask you questions. Hey, tell me about the time when you had to go through an incident response process. When you mention on your resume that you have done this on a firewall, tell me about it. This is how it works, the interviewing process. If you want to learn how we can help you get to the next level and get into the cybersecurity industry, there's a link in the video. Click on that and watch the video on the next page. Again, if you gain some value out of this content, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends on LinkedIn or any other social media platforms. Because at the end of the day, guys, I don't have any sponsorship on this channel. I'm just trying to give value to the community, sharing what I've learned along the journey, And all I ask from you guys is to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.